Sing that shit.
Hello all, welcome to Commercewati. This is series 1 episode 14 part B. As you all know that we have uploaded part A, which typically deals the impact of coronavirus on financial reporting, and this is part B, and in this part B we are going to discuss the auditor consideration with respect to different standards of auditing. Moving on to contents of the video. So these are the various standards on auditing on which there will be impact of coronavirus, which we'll be dealing further one by one. And later we have some message for all those CS students. Moving ahead, so we'll see the impact of coronavirus on SA 315, that is identifying and assessing the risks of material misstatement through understanding its entity and its environment. So first, it can be scenario because of the COVID situation, there could be drop in demand and there could be reduced customer base. Okay, so these can lead to operational disruption. So, and as an auditor, we have to see that during this situation, is there any operational disruption? And if it is there, and that may have result into change into business model. So we need to be a very care about that whether operational disruption has taken place or not. Then we have to see, is there any contractual non-compliance which may lead to breaching contractual agreements. Then as an auditor, we have to see the liquidity and working capital issues. So this current situation can affect majorly to liquidity and working capital of an organization. Then asset valuation. Also, while planning our risk assessment procedure, we need to incorporate the COVID impact as well, right? So, and if any disclosure is required further, we need to disclose the same. Now, if I'll see the COVID impact on SA 320, that is materiality in planning and performing an audit, then as an auditor, if we feel that it is necessary because of the current situation to revise performance materiality, then we should be very vigilant about. Also, if we feel that nature, timing, and extent of further audit procedure remain appropriate, or we need to add something, or we need to perform more because of the current situation, that as an auditor we have to be very concerned about. Now moving on to next essay, which is essay 540, that is assessing financial impact and their reasonable estimation. So as we have already discussed the estimation in part A, now we'll quickly see the areas where accounting estimation is taken care of. These are impairment of goodwill, PP, intangible assets, then defined benefit plans, then contractual penalties, stock compensation performance, employment termination benefit, insurance, onerous contracts, and expected credit losses. So these all we have discussed in our part A of the video. Now we'll see what are the audit procedure which is prescribed as per the relevant essay. So as an auditor, what we need to see that whatever the accounting estimates which is taken by management are reasonable and are adequate or not. So when we talk about reasonable, how do you think that we can make sure that the estimates are reasonable? For that, what are the audit procedures we need to perform? So as an auditor, we need to see that how the management has assessed the effect of estimation uncertainty, right? Like how management assess, like what are, there could be some method, there could be some procedure, there could be something which lead the management to assess the effect of estimation uncertainty. For that, we need to apply our mind and see how they have come to that conclusion, and also we have to document our audit evidence which supports this accounting estimates, and whatever the related disclosure that may affect due to the impact of COVID. So these are the auditor procedure which is to be performed during this COVID scenario. Okay. Now, valuation of inventory on the date other than the date of financial statement, that is 31st March 2020. So, as we know, due to the nation lockdown, it won't be practicable for most of the business entities to conduct their physical count at 31st March 2020, correct? So, now as an auditor, what alternative procedure we have to perform to get a comfort on the physical verification? So we'll see in relevance to the provision which are there in SA 501, which says if physical inventory counting is conducted at a date other than the date of financial statement, the auditor shall, in addition to the procedure required by paragraph 4, perform audit procedure to obtain audit evidence about whether changes in inventory between the count date and the date of financial statement are properly recorded. So we will interpret this line further here and here. So suppose if a physical inventory counting is conducted other than the date of financial statement, at a date other than the date of financial statement, which can be situation in any, like it could be either physical inventory counting or perpetual inventory system. In either of the cases, what we have to see as an auditor, we have to see the control effectiveness. Then only we can rely. So what we have to see? We have to see effectiveness of the design, implementation and maintenance of control over changes in inventory. Right? Then only we can have a comfort. If we feel that the control is effectively designed and their implementation is properly working, then only we can rely on the fact that the changes in inventory, what would have taken place between the count date and the date of the financial statement, that is properly recorded. Okay. Now, if in case the attendance at physical inventory counting is impractical, so the auditor has to perform alternative audit procedure. What are these alternative audit procedure? Which says inspection of documentation of subsequent sales of specific inventory items or purchase prior to physical inventory counting. Right. So if it is impracticable, then we have to perform alternative audit procedure. And if we are not able to perform, then we have to modify our opinion as per SA 705. Now, audit of consolidated financial statement where components or component auditors are located in severally affected places. Okay. If we'll talk about the roles and responsibility of an auditor with regards to CFS, that is Consolidated Financial Statement. So as per the guidance note, it says that in case where the parent auditor is not the auditor of all components included in CFS, the auditor of the consolidated financial statement should consider the requirement of SA 600, which says if you are the principal auditor but you are not the auditor of the component, then as a principal auditor you have to consider the work of component auditor, right? That means you are using the work of another auditor. So whatever it is there in SA 600, it says that if you are using the work of another auditor, you have to obtain a sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding regarding the work of other auditor is adequate or not. Correct? Now, while performing the same as a principal auditor, you should also consider the COVID scenario, which says that if you are a principal auditors, you have to also consider how the impact of COVID, which is like travel bans or temporary suspension of business operation or employees not coming to the organization. So how these COVID scenario outcomes has affect the risk assessment, materiality, and ability to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence in respect of components. Okay, so if principal auditor feels that they are not able to obtain the adequate information from the component auditor, then what can principal auditor do? They can qualify their opinion or disclaimer of opinion, right? Now, how do you think the principal auditor can get the sufficient and appropriate audit evidence from component auditor? They can use the cloud based portal, they can have video call, screen sharing, they can send detailed questionnaire across mail to all the component auditors, they can consider the past work, they can have more detailed memorandum. Okay, then they can think of what work can be done centrally by principal auditor teams. So these are the things the principal auditor should take care of while performing the audit. Subsequent events or events after reporting date. So we all know that the responsibility of auditor for subsequent events has been prescribed under SA 560, which says that auditor has to perform an audit procedure to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence of all the events which has occurred between the date of financial statement and the date of auditor's report. So whatever the subsequent events are there, the auditor has to assess whether that require adjustment or disclosure in the financial statement, right? Now, now we'll see what are the auditors like auditors procedure in which they can identify that events, right? First of all, we have to obtain an understanding of any procedure. Then we'll have to inquiry with the management and those charged with governance. Then we'll have to go through the minutes. Then we have to see that whether if the entity have its interim financial statement, then we can go through that also. And then after the above procedure, if we think that that event requires any adjustment or disclosure, we have to see the same has been appropriately reflected in financial statement. Going concern. So as an auditor, we need to see that is there any risk which is related to COVID-19 threat which can impact an organization, right? There could be a disturbance in supply and demand which may lead to material uncertainty to going concern status for 12 months look forward period. So that we need to make sure of, right? Then as an auditor, what we can do is we have to obtain the sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, and we have to conclude on the management basis of going concern accounting, right? So we have to see whatever the methods or procedure management used for their going concern basis of accounting, that is appropriate or not, right? So whatever the audit evidence we'll obtain regarding that, then only we can conclude that whether a material uncertainty exists or not. Correct? Now, while assessing the appropriateness of going concern assumption, what we have to see the detailed and robust review of date forecast, cash flow, sensitivity analysis, and review of COVID contingency plans and impact assessment conducted by the management. So that we have to see and assess whether the entity are doing correct going concern basis accounting or not. And if some events or condition that identify may cast significant doubt on the ability to concern as going concern, then auditor can obtain appropriate audit evidence to determine whether that material uncertainty exists or not. So evaluation of work of management expert. So if we are using anything as audit evidence which has been prepared using the work of management expert, then as an auditor, what we have to see whether the significance of that expert work is like is adequate and is correct for an auditor purpose. So how we can ensure that? So first we have to evaluate the competence, capability and objectivity of that expert. Then we have to obtain the understanding of the work, and then we have to evaluate the appropriateness of that expert work as an audit evidence for the relevant assertion. Written representation governed by SA 580. So, as an auditor, we need to see that whether we need any specific representation from the management in relation to management assessment of impact from ongoing outbreak of COVID and on the financial statement for the year ended March 31st, 2020, as well as for the reasonable foreseeable future. So that as an auditor, we need to ensure about it. Auditor opinion and reporting on key audit matters. So, as we know, as an auditor, we have to obtain a reasonable assurance about whether the FS are free from material misstatement. And further, we have to express an opinion whether the FS are prepared in all material aspects and in accordance with FRF. Now, looking at the COVID scenario, when an auditor may need to express a modified opinion, there are three conditions. First, if the auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence relating to material component audited by another auditor as per SA 600 due to COVID scenario, so that we have already discussed in our previous slide. Next, if the auditor feels that the financial impact arising out of COVID are not accounted or reported or disclosed as per relevant standards in the financial statement, then auditor may issue a modified opinion. Third, if the auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence relating to impact of COVID in FS and is of the opinion that there are material misstatement which is material to financial statement, in that case, auditor may express a modified opinion. Now, if we see the reporting on key audit matters, then auditor need to evaluate that whether the impact of disruption which is caused because of COVID, okay, would be a key audit matter. And if he feels so that, yeah, it should be a key audit matter, then the auditor would need to report the same along with how matter was addressed in the audit. Now we'll see the auditor responsibility relating to other information. So we know that auditor is required to read any other information which is disclosed in annual report, and they need to consider whether the same is consistent with the financial statement, right? So for that, entities need to provide additional disclosure in the following areas mentioned below. So first, risk assessment. So entities need to elaborate like on the reported risk. It could be the COVID risk, then management discussion and analysis. So entity has to include management discussion and analysis in relation to exposure to COVID risk. Then notes to financial statement, specific disclosure under the subsequent events accounting standard or any other specific accounting disclosure are being carried out or not. Now, internal control consideration. If the auditor is required to issue reports on internal financial control, then in this COVID scenario, the auditor need to consider few points like is company needs to implement new internal control or modify existing internal control, right? And then if like the scenario due to illness, quarantine, working from home, isolation or travel restrictions, we need to ensure that because of this conditions, whether the any control is not operating effectively, that we need to make sure about if it is there or not, and if it is there, what are the alternate controls. Then we have to see whether the companies is able to close their financial reporting process in time, right? And then we have to see how the company are designing and implementing their controls. It is with respect to gap and the relevant disclosure arising from COVID are being taken care of. External confirmation, which is governed by SA 505. So in this current COVID scenario, there can be many confirmation which will be ineffective due to inadequate response or non-responses. So in these two scenarios, as an auditor, what procedure we are required to perform, we'll see. So in case of inadequate responses, we have to obtain further audit evidence to resolve those doubts, right? Then what we have to do, then as an auditor, we have to evaluate the implication on the assessment of relevant risk of material misstatement and risk of fraud. And then in case of non-responses, we have to obtain alternative audit procedure. And what are those alternative audit procedure? Like in case of AR, we can have subsequent cash receipts, shipping document. And in case of EP, we can have subsequent cash disbursement, good receipt notes, etc. Now, risk of fraud. So due to this COVID scenario, it could put pressures on management to meet performance targets or market expectation, which can increase the risk of likelihood of fraud. In that scenario, auditors need to exercise a much higher degree of skepticism and carry out extended audit procedure to eliminate the possibility of fraud or material error in the financial statement. Also, as an auditor, the auditor must be mindful of highlight the risk of fraud and comply with the standards of fraud, which is governed in SA 240. Okay, now we'll discuss few things. The first thing is lockdown matters for CS students? If you'll ask my opinion, I don't think this lockdown actually matters to us, because if you are a CS student before May and November, like 2 months before May and November, you'll have a lockdown for 2 to 3 months or 4 months, isn't it? So this lockdown actually not creating any mental impact on you. I do agree the situation is something to worried about, but my message in this situation will be, you guys should stay positive, and for that, if you want to practice meditation and yoga, you can go with it. And as your examination dates are extended, you can have revisions and practice as much mock as you can. Now you guys must be wondering, why did I put this watermelon photo in this slide, right? So my question relating to this watermelon would be, how would you cut this watermelon, with a needle or a knife? There could be many people who will be using needle, and there could be many people who will be needing knife. So the one who will be needing knife will get the result. That means knife is the correct approach. So if your approach is correct, you will get the positive result, right? So I just wanted to convey that if you are taking multiple attempts like me, then you need to consider your approach, right? So you need to think, like, is your approach correct, or is your approach in right direction? You can consult with your mentor, you can consult with your tutor, you can consult to whomsoever you want, but always look at your approach, right? Because if you'll try with needle, you won't get the success. If you'll do with knife, you will obviously get the success, right? Now last message, focused on your goal to obtain the membership number of ICAI, right? Good luck to all. Thank you. So guys, if you want the notes for part A and part B of the video, let us know via comment. And thank you for watching this video. Stay connected with Commerce Buddy.